Good morning, councillors and members of the gallery, and welcome to the 841st Ordinary Council meeting of Logan City Council on the 28th of January 2026. I declare this meeting open at 10 a.m. and would like to advise attendees that this meeting is being webcast and audio recorded. As is our tradition, and thank you very much for coming in on your first day of school, we've got Possa and Millet from John Paul College to come and do our acknowledgement of country. Please give them a round of applause as they come to the front.
We acknowledge the Yugambeh and Yagara peoples as the traditional custodians of the land on which we live, learn, work and play.
We pay our respects to elders past and present, for they hold the memories, traditions and cultures and hopes of First Nations people, inspiring our commitment to innovation and sustainability.
Thank you very much, ladies. Fantastic job. Please give them another round of applause. I know it must be awful to have to come into council instead of being at your first day of school this year, but really appreciate you coming and doing our acknowledgement to country. I too would like to pay my respects to the elders of the land that we meet on today, both past, present and emerging. I'd now like to introduce Desire Taharaja from the Sound of Glory Church at Springwood to come and open our meeting and bless it with a reflection of faith and hopefully a prayer. If you could all please stand while the pastor comes to the lectern.
Good morning, everyone. Morning, Mayor, all the councillors and all the people in the room. I want to thank you all for the time and also for your invitation to be here today. Thank you. My name is Desiree. I come from Sound of Glory Christian Church. We had an official launch just over a week ago, last weekend, and I want to really thank you that, Mayor, you were able to attend out of your busy schedule. And we also had Councillor Paul Jackson with us. So thank you very much. We meet in Browns Plains, but the official launch happened in Springwood. I've been living in Logan for over 20 years. And during that time, I've been involved in church life across the Logan City. So Logan is not just where I minister, it's my home. And this morning, I want to bring reflection on time. We all know that time is everything, and the scriptures remind us in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 11, that God has made everything beautiful in its time. Well, not everything is good in every moment, but everything has purpose in the right season. The Bible has a story of a queen called Esther. Many people who read the Bible didn't know about this, but she was found with a question about the time, about the season, and the question, very popular question in the Bible, was asked, who knows but that you have come to a position for such a time as this? That's a very popular question in the Bible, which can bring us to think and wonder why out of many people in Logan, God has purposely chosen these people sitting in this room to be into leadership for our city in this season. This verse reminds us that leadership is not accidental. It is appointed for a specific moment. We often hear that Logan is one of the most diverse, youngest, and fastest growing cities in Australia. I believe this is the right team that God has chosen to be in charge in charge of this city during this time. So I believe it is true for its leadership, and you are serving in a unique and demanding season. Councillors, you have been elected, yes, by your people in your divisions, but ultimately you serve God because God has purposed you to lead this community during this season. You are called to carry this community through a very tough season of life during the time when we know cost of living is a real concern, and diversity is beautiful, but we know the challenges that come with that. You have been called to serve this community through cyclones, through floods. I know it's because God knows you are anointed and equipped for this. The time to celebrate with us in joy times, and time to cry with us during the difficult times, when cry with those people who are grieving and laugh with those who are rejoicing. So leadership is not just about positions, and it's more about presence, less about self, more about willing to show up. Those events that you show up, you leave the time that you could be spending with the families, and sometimes it's not really what you really have to do to have your job, but you do it because you have the heart for it. Scripture tells us that in Romans 13 verse 1 that all leadership comes from God, and that true leadership is to serve and not to be served. Leaders are called to speak for those who cannot speak for themselves and encourage those who need strength and hope. I've seen many moments where councillors or even mayor have been humble enough to sit and play with the little ones and engage with our children at school. That really matters. That is leadership in action. That is exactly what Jesus did. He welcomed the little ones and spent time with the ones that people would think annoying or maybe not worth our time. And while leadership is often evaluated in the moment, its true success is measured long after it has passed by the legacy it leaves behind. So I want to make it clear this morning with this time that I have. Since we're talking about time, I must use my time. I don't know if you call me again, but I take my time to leave you with this. It's your time to be responsible. It's time to make those hard decisions. It's your time to excel. It's your time to write your legacy. It's your time to shape Logan for a better future. It's your time to prepare Logan for the next generation, for our children. Through Scripture, some leaders have been remembered as good, not because of the power and popularity, but because how much value they place on the things of God. Their leadership was marked by humility, moral clarity, and a willingness to put God first. Less about themselves and more about righteousness. More encouragement to you is that you put God first, whether in your meetings, and that's probably exactly what you are doing today, bring the reflection of faith, beginning of your ordinary meetings, and I will stay here today because I've been told I can stay. I will stay here and enjoy the other parts of the meeting, yes. In your policies, in your funding decisions, in your community events, put God first. And if you put God as a foundation, wisdom will follow and the community will flourish. Also, I want to acknowledge and commend this council for welcoming the faith leaders to have a time like this. I think it's a special thing that Logan City is doing. The Bible encourages us to pray for our city, and I'm going to finish with exactly that. Thank you for spending time standing, and we normally take time, but it's time for God. I think it's worth it. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the city of Logan and for those entrusted with its leadership. Grant the mayor and councillors and all in the leadership with wisdom in their decisions, courage in difficult moments, and integrity in all they do. May their leadership bring peace, unity, and hope to every community within this city. Guide them as they shape a future that serves not only the present generation, but those yet to come. May Logan be a city built on justice, compassion, and respect for you and for one another. Amen. Bless you.
Thank you very much, Pastor. We know that you're busy, but you've just made a promise to stay for the whole meeting. So challenge accepted, councillors. Can we keep Pastor Desiree interested for the whole meeting? It should be a quick one because I note that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 councillors who have requested leaves of absence today. We will bring them up on the screen one at a time. The first one is Councillor Bradley, her reason being medical reason. Would someone like to move that motion? Thank you, Councillor Bennon, seconded by Councillor Wilcox. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That has been carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. We'll now move to the second leave of absence, which is Councillor Russell. Her reason is personal leave. Would someone like to move that motion? Thank you, Councillor Bannon, seconded by Councillor Hall. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That has been carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. The next councillor requesting a leave of absence is Councillor Fraser, who is on his reason being medical leave. That has been moved by Councillor Bannon, seconded by Councillor Hall. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That has been carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. And finally, we have Councillor Stemp. Her reason being personal leave, moved by Councillor Bannon, seconded by Councillor Hall. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That has been carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. We'll now move on to condolence motions. We have a number of condolences today, and I will move mine last. Okay, I'm moving mine first as Councillor Lane. Excellent. I'll begin with my condolence, then we'll move to other condolences because I know more than one person will want to offer condolences to the Abel family. Today I wish to offer heartfelt condolences to the Abel family for the passing of Margaret Abel, a woman who gave so much of herself to her family, her community and the city that she loved. Margaret passed away on Australia Day. While many of us attended barbecues or citizenship ceremonies, spent time with family and friends, Graham was saying goodbye to the woman he loved. Margaret was the wife of Graham Abel, who was a former councillor and mayor who served our city for 32 years. That length of service doesn't happen in isolation. Behind it is sacrifice, resilience and unwavering support. And throughout Graham's entire journey in public life, Margaret was his rock. Anyone who has served as elected representative knows that the role takes a toll, not just on the individual, but often more so on their family. Late nights, difficult decisions, constant scrutiny and time away from home become part of the job. It is often our partners who carry the quiet weight of that service, offering strength when it's needed most and encouragement when pressure is high. And Margaret did that with grace. She embraced her role as mayoress while Graham served as mayor from 2006 to 2008 with warmth and generosity, taking great pride in being part of the mayoress committee and supporting the community through her charity work. She never sought recognition. She simply showed up, gave her time and helped where she could because that is who she was. Margaret was known for her kindness. It was genuine and deeply felt by those around her. She had a way of making people feeling welcome and valued, whether through her volunteering, her friendship, or even just her kind smile. Graham has shared with me this week that he loved her with every single bit of his heart and that his life was made complete because of the time they loved each other. He said she was as much a part of this council as he was because they shared everything and he couldn't have done it without her. Today we mourn her loss, but we also give thanks for a life lived with purpose and compassion. We remember a beautiful soul whose generosity left a lasting mark on this city and whose love shaped the life of a man who gave decades of service to Logan. To Graham and to his family, please know that this community stands with you. We share in your grief and we honour Margaret's memory alongside you. The reason we feel such strong grief when we lose someone we love is because we shared such amazing love while they lived beside us. May she be remembered for her kindness, her quiet strength and the love she gave so completely. Rest in peace, Margie. Councillor Lane.
Thanks very much, Mr Mayor, and I'll speak to Margaret Abel's passing. I first met Graham and Margaret in 1984 when he was running for council, and he came to my parents' home and asked for their help in his campaign. And she was this quiet lady, a very sincere lady who just wanted to help her husband be a success for the community and to help him lead for the community. She is so much a part of the area. She could tell you about Veronica Girl, who lived in Doobie Court, because Graham would go and knock on her door and have tea with her and come home and tell Margaret about things that were happening in the local area. There were so many families connected to Margaret Abel, but not only that, the Mayoress Committee, she absolutely loved it. She was a part of it for decades. And during her tenure in the Mayoress Committee, over $3 million was distributed to local groups in Logan City at the time. She was around when Access Community Services was first formed, when Multilink was first formed, when Burren Park Neighbourhood Centre was being built. She was a part of this, an integral part of it. So I want to offer my condolences to Graham and the extended family, but also want to offer my condolences to her mates at the Mayoress Committee at the time. So that's Gail Harrower, Margaret Harvey, Bev Sparks, Mrs Brooks, Mary Bickerdike, Kay Campbell, Valda Roots and Diane Skelton. They miss her and they love her, and they will remember her as a person who really gave to Logan and made a big difference in a lot of people's worlds. Now, the second condolence that I have today, Mr Mayor, is for some people just touch your heart with their kindness and their quiet determination and their fierce love of creating items for loved ones and people in need. This was who Rita Frost was. Rita Frost was born on St Paddy's Day in 1940, and she passed peacefully on the 29th of December at age 85. Now, most people will be remembering Rita as this gracious woman who was kind and gentle and the usual thing. I remember as this cheeky minx who used to drive around like a lunatic in a Fiat that actually got stolen from her front driveway when she left the car running, checked the mailbox, and someone got in it and nicked it. And she was trying to run down the road at 80 years of age to hunt down this car thief. That's the sort of person that she was. She knitted for community services, she knitted for young parents who were having babies, and she was just the most kind and gentle soul. So to Rita's family, Joy, Trevor and Shane, and also to her Crafty Lot family, of which you are the patron, so you knew Rita well as well, Mr Mayor. We just want to say we're sorry that you've lost a mate, and she was a wonderful person and she was a great asset to our community.
Councillor Wilcox, did you...
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like my condolences passed on to Peter Hodge. He was an EQ employee on and off for approximately 34 years. And in 2023, he joined the community at Flagstone State Community College. He taught in the digital technologies and in the ITD world. He had taught internationally and in Queensland, and he taught in many places across the world, including Palm Island. Peter passed away peacefully in his sleep on the school holidays, and he will be missed dearly by staff and students, and especially his cheeky manner at Flagstone State Community College and his family. If those can be passed on. Thank you.
That will be done. Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and please pardon me if I get a bit emotional today. I would like to pass on my deepest condolence for the sudden passing of John Christensen, and the reason why I probably will be a bit emotional is it was a sudden passing, and we, Cameron and I, had dinner with John and Heather over the Christmas holidays and made memories on that day, and then not long after he was taken from us. So I had the privilege of knowing John for several years, and in that time he showed himself to be a remarkable family man, a dedicated community volunteer and a very astute businessman. They were the owners of KC Farm Equipment, so supplied a lot of the farming area in and around us. His commitment to the Bird Club and the wider community reflected the kind of person he was, someone who gave his time freely and cared deeply about the people around him. John was known for his mateship, his fun and his lovable character, and the way he could bring warmth and laughter to any room. He had a unique ability to make others feel welcome, valued, and that's a rare gift. I always remember him with a rum and coke. I couldn't convince him for Beanley rum. He'd always go to the Bundaberg rum. a piece of chocolate. We'd sneak him in chocolates and he'd hide them from Heather. And an unmistakable spark in his smile. Those small, joyful moments are what will stay with me, and I'm grateful to have shared it with him. Both Mr. Mayor and I attended John's celebration of life in Nerang over the holidays, and I'm very grateful that you could attend that day. I wish comfort and strength to Heather and his family and all that loved him as we honour him as a truly wonderful man. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Well done, Councillor Murphy. Condolences will be passed on to his family, and it was my honour and privilege to attend his celebration of life. They're fantastic to hear the stories, especially his granddaughter who delighted in beating him at cards because he would cheat so much and he would take it so seriously, and it was just a beautiful expression of love that you could see that wonderful connection. Please stand so we can observe a moment of quiet reflection in honour of those who have gone before us and in support of those whom they have left behind. Thank you. You may be seated. We'll now move to congratulations. I'll begin with Division 2. Do you have any congratulations, Councillor Lane, Councillor St Ledger, Councillor Jackson, Councillor Hall, Councillor Heremiah, Councillor Bannon?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've got 3 today. The first one, I want to give a shout out to Melinda Hill, one of our staff here, works underneath Brad Page. So she's runs the events team. Unless you run an event, which you have, you understand the pressures behind the event. Without those things running smoothly behind the event, it goes really, really poorly. She's done some massive events, and I believe she's only filling in for a little bit. But it was a massive congratulations to her for doing an incredible job, especially at the recent Australia Day Awards. Some more awards. I won't go into all the nominees and winners that Division 9 had because I'd be here longer than Teresa could talk about something. No offence put in there. Got 2 winners. First, Jake Whittaker, who's a mate of yours. He went to the Country Music Awards in Tamworth, the biggest in the country, and he's been nominated for Breakout Artist of the Year. So a local boy, so that's pretty cool. That runs till April, and I'm sure you'll jump on the voting thing and get him across the line. And a good mate of mine, Jessica Holbrook, who's the 2026 Best of the Busker Champions. So she beat about 20 people. So local girl from Jimboomba who was singing at the Christmas carols. I told Raj she couldn't afford it next year, and I was right. So she's hit the big time. So if you can send through those congratulations, appreciate it.
With great pleasure, Councillor Bannon. Councillor Wilcox.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Firstly, I'd like to congratulate everyone who came on Monday to the Australia Day Awards ceremony and the Citizenship Awards ceremony. I had the privilege and the honour of emceeing it, and I thought it was fantastic. Congratulations to all of the nominees and the winners from the awards on Monday, and to those 200 people that became citizens on a very special day. So well done. The team were great, and it was a really busy morning, so thank you. But I also do have a couple of happy birthdays. I know people don't like this, but hey, it was my own daughter. She's actually made it to adulthood. She turned 18 last week. My house has been full all week with dinners and people dropping in and out to wish her a happy birthday, so can't wait to see what you can do. Kiddo, especially going into second year uni in the beginning of March. So congratulations to Zoe for turning 18, and also congratulations to the following people. There's a bunch of them that turn 18 within days of each other, and they've all gone to school together. So also happy birthday to Lola, Jake, Jack and Alex, who also just turned 18 in my area. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wilcox. Councillor Murphy. Those congratulations will be forwarded. We now move to confirmation of minutes of the previous ordinary council meeting. The motion for the 840th ordinary council meeting minutes are on the screen. Can someone please move that motion? Thank you, Councillor Bannon. Can someone second that? Thank you, Councillor St Ledger. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That has been carried unanimously. No, that has been carried with the exception of Councillor Wilcox. How do you vote?
I would like to abstain. I wasn't here for the meeting. Normally I'm okay for the meeting minutes. However, due to the report on 10.2, I would like it on record that I would have voted in favour for the LGAQ motion.
Thank you, but you don't believe the minutes are accurate? So you are in support, you just want a note? There we go. We got you there. So that was carried unanimously with a note for the record. Thank you very much. Declarations of conflicts of interest. I now refer to declarations of conflict of interest. Do any councillors have any new conflicts of interest they'd like to declare that have arisen since committee? There being none, we have no business arising from those minutes. We'll now move to committee recommendations, and we'll begin with the City Infrastructure Committee, held on the 20th of January. Deputy Mayor Bennon, chairperson of that committee, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. There's no need to speak to recommendations, as myself and Mr Riley are all about delivery.
Excellent, good to know. Do any other councillors wish to speak to the recommendations of that report? There being none, Councillor Bennon, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I now move that the recommendations of the City Infrastructure Committee meeting held on the 20th of January 26 be adopted.
Councillor Bannon has moved the motion on the screen. Would someone like to second that motion? Thank you, Councillor St Ledger. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That has been carried unanimously. Would any councillors like to record their name against or abstain from any motions in that report? There being none, we'll move on to the City Planning, Economic Development, City Governance, sorry. We'll move to the City Governance Committee meeting held on the 20th of January. Councillor Jackson, chairperson of that committee, you may proceed.
Happy Australia Month, Mr Mayor. I note that item 6.1, Local Government and Committee Meeting Code Amendment, was deferred for further consideration. Therefore, this item will be addressed later in today's agenda and separated from the bulk adoption. I also note that Councillor Hall requested an amendment to LIP 00961, Riverdale Park Master Plan for Car Park, additional 30 car parks. And we have also received additional LIP projects for item 6.4, Local Infrastructure Program, January 2026. Therefore, this will be addressed first.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson. I refer to item 6.4, which is the Local Infrastructure Program for January 2026. As we receive two additional projects, we'll need to pass a motion to table the updated attachment, which was circulated to councillors on the 27th of January. That motion is on the screen. I will move the motion, and it needs no seconder as it is procedural. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That has been carried. The document has been tabled. Councillor Jackson, did you wish to speak to the recommendation in relation to 6.4? Did anyone else wish to speak to them? There being none, you may move your motion.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I move this motion.
So moved. Would someone like to second the motion? Thank you, Councillor Wilcox. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That has been carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Councillor Jackson, you may now proceed with the rest of your committee.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'll now speak to the remainder of the recommendations. We received a whole bunch of the normal monthly reports, but wanted to highlight a couple of extras that came in. And one was the community engagement strategy for the City of Logan. And the aim of this, both the plan and the toolkit, is to provide strategic direction to council on the why and who of engagement with the community, maximise inclusive, meaningful engagement opportunities for the Logan community, and guide council in the practice of community engagement. And we also are bringing phase 4 of the policy renovations, looking for the right word there, to the table as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Jackson. Do any other councillors wish to speak to any of the items on the report? There being none, Councillor Jackson, you may move the motion on the screen.
I do.
So moved. Would someone like to second that motion? Thank you, Councillor Murphy. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That has been carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Would any councillors like to mark their names against or abstain against any items? Councillor Lane.
Thanks very much, Mr Mayor. 6.6 against, 6.7 abstain, 6.8 abstain, for the reasons provided in the committee meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Lane. Councillor Heremiah.
Thank you. Against 6.2 and 6.8.
And Councillor Wilcox.
I abstained against 6.8.
Thank you, councillors. Now we'll move to the Planning, Economic Development and Environment Committee held on the 20th of January. In the absence of the Chair and the Deputy Chair, I will speak to the recommendations. It was a fantastic and exciting committee where all the action actually happens, Councillor Bennon. I have no further comments to make about the committee. Do any other councillors wish to contribute and comment on the report?
Are we finishing the governance?
Did I not move it? I did move it. We're done. We'll come back to the governance report at the end as a council report. Sorry, to clarify. You're right. Do any councillors wish to speak to the Planning, Economic Development and Environment Committee report? There being none, I will move the motion on the screen. Councillor Bannon has seconded it. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That has been carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Would anyone like to record their name against or abstain? Councillor Lane and then Councillor Heremiah.
6.2 abstain and 6.3 against with the reasons provided in the committee.
Thank you, Councillor Lane. Councillor Heremiah.
6.3 against.
No, that will be noted. Thank you, councillors. We'll now move to the City Lifestyle Committee, held on the 20th of January. Councillor Hall, chairperson of that committee, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'll now speak to the recommendations. At last week's City Lifestyle Committee meeting, councillors considered 3 reports. The first report, USA Library Research Tour, funded by Cheryl Horton Scholarship, was fantastic news. Council has proudly supported an opportunity for one of its talented staff to travel to the US on a fully funded scholarship to learn about leading trauma-informed library practices. This is a wonderful opportunity for council to kind of get some research done and bring some of that research done back into our library systems and our council. Secondly, councillors considered a report titled BAC2 Request for Approval for Disposal of Interest in Land. Council support establishing an easement at the Bentley Aquatic Centre to enable Energex to safely maintain and upgrade the on-site substation. This essential work will support the centre's redevelopment, and the ongoing improvements at the centre continue to be a significant win for the local community and has been supported strongly by the area councillor as well. Finally, council considered a confidential report titled Community Sports Development Agreement Amendment. Matters relating to the ongoing operation arrangements at the Logan Metro Sports Park were reviewed, and council supported the proposed recommendations from council.
Thank you, Councillor Hall. Do any other councillors wish to speak to those reports? There being none, Councillor Hall, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I now move that the recommendations of the City Lifestyle Committee meeting held on Tuesday, 20th of January be adopted.
Councillor Hall has moved the motion on the screen. Would someone like to second that motion? Thank you, Councillor Wilcox. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That has been carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Would any councillors like to abstain or record against? Councillor Heremiah?
Against 6.3.
And Councillor Wilcox?
I abstained on 6.3.
Thank you. That will be noted. We'll now move to council reports, which is item 10.1, which is the deferred report from Local Government and Committee Meeting Code Amendment. We have one council report to consider, which was a deferral so that we could have extra options presented. Councillors have had those options circulated to them yesterday by the Executive General Manager of Organisational Services. Councillors, my proposal is I'll open the floor for debate, but first my proposal is to move option 1, then option 2, and then revert to the original recommendation. And if all of that fails, we'll receive the report and there'll be no changes. Do you wish the Director, the Executive General Manager, to speak to the report, or are you comfortable to proceed with the motions as they were presented to you? Councillor Lane.
Thanks very much. I'd love it if you'd come to the front and go over.
Robert, if you could come to the front, that would be fantastic. You need me to table them both? Oh, yeah, no problems.
Does he have to speak to the report, or can he start? Is he just there to answer questions if council's have them?
He can take it as read and answer questions if he likes, but I think it'd be helpful if he outlined option 1 and 2 so that the community understands what we're considering today. Before he gets into that, though, I'll have to table the additional attachments, which contain option 1 and option 2 in them. I'll move that motion. It needs no seconder. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That has been carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. The options are now tabled on the record. Mr Strachan, if you would like to briefly outline what option 1 and option 2 are for the benefit of the gallery, then we can proceed into debate.
Good morning, Mayor and councillors. Through the Chair, just briefly, last week we considered an agenda item 6.1 to make some minor amendments to the meeting code to facilitate better access to meetings via audio link and audio visual link. This is allowed under section 254K of the local government regulation. However, our meeting code goes a little bit further and provides some stipulation in relation to how a councillor can attend remotely through the provision of some exceptional circumstances. What we've seen in the past is that those exceptional circumstances have been unreasonably restrictive in relation to access to the meeting via Teams. So what we've suggested in the report was to add an additional exceptional circumstance which allowed a councillor to have a reasonable basis to not attend. The discussion at committee last week was that that the term a reasonable basis wasn't well thought of and considered. So what we've done is we've come up with two additional options. Option one, which was circulated in an email by myself last Thursday and yesterday by the corporate meetings team. Option one is that we add additional criteria under the exceptional circumstances section of the meeting code, which is 5.3b, to allow participation if a councillor is unwell, has unexpected caring duties, or is too far away from the meeting place to physically attend. It should be noted that in this particular option, it's still the case that a councillor should obtain approval to participate remotely in a prior local government meeting if practical and possible. The second option, which we've provided to you today, option two, basically just takes out all of the provisions in the meeting code that deal with remote access to local government meetings and relies on the actual legislation, which is section 254K, which is participating in meetings by audio link or audio-visual link. If we go back to the regulation, that will mean that there will need to be a vote in council and committee meetings in relation to deciding whether a councillor can attend remotely via Teams under that particular option.
Thank you, Mr Strachan. Councillors, I'm happy to take discussion and then move into debate if necessary. Councillor Bannon, you wanted to speak?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Supportive of option one, and it's because it's had a history. So we did in the first term, there was never an issue with any of this. It never got abused. It was simple that if there was a reason why you couldn't be there, you contacted the chair or the mayor, and they said no dramas, Teams in. I just don't think we should be overcomplicating it, changing the entire game when it's been proven that it worked. So I'm not sure what's changed or why it did change, but in the first term, if you were sick or unwell, no one just Teamed in for the fun of it, and not a single councillor here abused it. Not a single chair here abused it, and I think it's just simple to get option one, not have them vote on it every time, because it's worked in the past.
Thank you, Councillor Bannon. Councillor Lane.
Question, why do we need this change if it was fine in the first term?
I think Councillor Bannon, in part, is alluding to under option one, what council is essentially doing is giving the chair the opportunity to approve access remotely to a local government meeting. That seemed to work well. What didn't work well was the fact that the provisions of the meeting code that list the exceptional circumstances were fairly restrictive and led to some circumstances where councillors felt they could participate in the debate and decision-making of the local government meeting, but weren't able to because of the provisions of the meeting code.
Thanks. So if a chair's sick and they're at home, are they allowed to participate in the meeting?
At the moment, no, under there's provisions of the meeting code that if the chair is participating in the local government meeting, they need to chair the meeting. Yep.
Can they chair remotely under this?
I think it would be practically difficult for them, but potentially there's nothing to stop them.
Fantastic. I'm against both options, quite simply because I think that it will put pressure on people who are ill to actually attend meetings when they perhaps shouldn't be attending meetings, whether it's online or not. Making a decision about financial implications when you're running a fever is not the best outcome for the residents, and it's not the best decision-making framework. I think that people will be under pressure if they're recovering from surgery and other things to again come online and attend meetings that they otherwise would take leave for. And I'm just a little bit disappointed that in doing some research into this, I looked at the Federal Parliamentary Libraries thing on remote voting and people coming into different things, we're going to count these people online as part of a quorum where they don't in other chambers. Is that right?
That is correct. Under the local government regulation, participation via Teams is allowed, and they are considered as attending the local government meeting.
Yep. So if something happens where they have to walk away because they're doing caring duties, do we lose quorum in the middle of a meeting? I'm just asking these questions because they're going to come up. Yeah, and I got stopped from going to the loo because we had a shortfall of people. So, I'm just asking the questions so that I can make the best decision possible.
They're legitimate questions, Councillor Lane, and you made some valid points during the original debate around the benefit of being in the room. I think the challenge of all teamsing, especially with the level of control that the chair has, is that as long as the person seeks the acknowledgement of the chair before they leave, so that you don't lose quorum, so the exact situation you're talking about, in the room I have no ability to stop you leaving if you get up and leave and say that it's emergency, and that's the same as on Teams. So the level of management the chair can exert is the same because it really relies on the participants following the directions of the chair.
Thank you. I'll be supporting option 2 today.
Thank you, Councillor Lane. Councillor Bannon, you wanted to have another chop? And then do I have Councillor Wilcox first? Sorry, Wilcox and then Bannon.
Thank you. Just quickly, just to clarify, so what happens if you can't notify a meeting before? Obviously, if you're sick or you might have caring duties, you may not be able to do that. Is it still okay if we send in an email to the chair and corporate meetings team and then get their approval? That's the first question.
Yeah, under the current provisions of the meeting code, it deals with that in relation to if it's practical to seek approval at a prior local government meeting, a councillor should do so. If it's not practical, so for example, you wake up feeling unwell but you could participate, you wouldn't have known that prior to the prior local government meeting. So if it wasn't practical, you can seek approval to attend remotely just before the meeting.
So on another point, so on the first one, so going back to Councillor Lane, if they're feeling unwell, unable to participate in person, but is able to do it by audio link or visual link, is there a clause that we can put in there only if they're fit and well enough? Is there something that we can add in there? Because obviously sometimes I was terribly sick at the beginning of January and there's no way I would have participated in a meeting. And that sort of thing. Is it going to force us to do it if we're sick?
It covers it off by saying able to participate in the meeting, unwell and unable to participate in person, but is able to participate in the meeting. So if you're so unwell that you can't participate, and you've got an obligation under the Local Government Act and under your code of conduct that you must be, if you're participating in a meeting, you must be fit and able to do so. So if for whatever reason you are on some kind of medication that meant that you weren't able to drive, you also shouldn't be voting in a committee because you're not able to participate to your full capacity, if that makes sense. But that doesn't take away from the fact that you may feel obliged to, especially the situation I think that Councillor Lane is alluding to is that we have no quorum, and then if one person teamed in, we would have quorum. And that might be a situation where the councillor who's at home felt pressure in order to do it. I personally wouldn't pressure you. We have many mechanisms for which to reschedule a meeting, and we've done it before during disasters and other times when we couldn't get enough people into the room to host a meeting. So there are mechanisms to avoid that, but it is something that could be considered. Councillor Bannon, then Councillor Hall.
As I said previously, we did this before for 4 years and never had a problem. If you're not sick, you're not compulsory having to do it. If the chair was away, that's what the deputy chair does, right? The deputy chair fills in. If they don't fill in, then the mayor fills in. But the thing is, there's a lot of what ifs, and I get that. You're going to ask questions, but we have done this. We did this for 4 years and never had a single problem. I just think we're paid to represent the community whatever we can, and this just gives us the freedom to do that, which is what the community expects us to do.
Thank you, Councillor Bannon. Councillor Hall.
Call me old-fashioned, but I'm the kind of person that thinks that sometimes going back to basics is a good thing. I think in this day and age, there's a lot of emerging technologies coming about. One of them is AI. I believe that there is always a risk that a councillor could be replaced by an AI model if they're teamsing in. And so there's a reason that we have these rules in place. So going back to the basics of actually having councillors in the building, I believe is the optimal. I believe they set these rules about to be as optimally as we could, and I think we should consider those risks of AI taking over the roles of councillors, which could one day potentially happen, and this is one way we can do it. Let's go back to option 2. I'll be showing my support for option 2.
Thank you, Councillor Hall. Does anyone else... Order. Does anyone else wish to speak to the motion? Councillor Jackson.
Thank you. Just around confidentiality, when we go into confidential, are there any requirements around how that is managed on the remote side of things?
Councillors would still have the obligation to keep information confidential. So if the meeting went into closed session, they would need to make sure that they were operating remotely in a way that the information was kept confidential.
Thank you. Any further debate or questions, I should say? There being none, I'll put motion option 1 forward first, then option 2, then the original motion, and then motion to receive, which means no changes. The option 1 is currently on the screen. I'll give you a moment to read through what's there. So all motions will say that we repeal the current meeting code and replace it with an amended meeting code as an additional attachment, which is in each option that has been tabled. Option 1 is first, and to be clear, option 1 allows for approval by the chair with 3 additional circumstances, being that the councillor is unwell and unable to participate in person but is able to participate in the meeting by audio or visual link, where a councillor has unexpected caring duties, where a councillor is away from the city, is impractical to return to the meeting place in person. Would someone like to move that motion? Councillor Bennon has moved that motion. Councillor Wilcox has seconded that motion. All in favour, please raise your hand. The motion has been carried. We'll go around the table to test.
Against.
For.
Against.
Against.
For.
For.
For. For.
And I was for. The motion has been carried. Thank you, councillors. And thank you very much, Robert, for your excellent answering of questions. Councillors, we'll now consider late reports, of which we have none, and then move to petitions. I note we have one petition to present today, which is the safe and accessible facilities for Rochdale Rovers family and visitors. Do any councillors wish to speak to this petition? There being none, a motion is now on the screen. I will move that motion in the absence of the divisional councillor. Would someone second that motion for me, please? Thank you, Councillor Bennon. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That has been carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. We have no consideration of notified motions this month. We'll now move to general business, which would start with Division 1 because we're in January, but in Councillor Bradley's absence. Councillor Lane, you may proceed.
Thanks very much, Mr Mayor. Being January and everyone's going back to school, our community service groups are kicking off again. Late last year, I put out a newsletter which outlined all of the local community events and weekly activities in our community, and there was a massive call out from people asking for more information. They really enjoy the fact that there's so much to do and be a part of in Division 2, and they're coming from all over the city to participate in free Tai Chi activities, free chiropractic care, free podiatry care, free art lessons. There's a range of different things that our community services groups are putting on inside our council facilities, and they're absolute rippers. So I will say to everybody, spaces are filling up quickly for February's activities. Hook in while you can, because these free and low-cost activities are for everybody in the community, not just the people that are home every day. So we've got self-funded retirees who are now going down and doing healthy and active programs down at Ben Matthews, and it's absolutely magic. So that's all I got today.
Thank you, Councillor Lane. Councillor St Ledger. Councillor Jackson.
Thank you. I just wanted to give a in-council shout-out to our open drains maintenance team. Jason, Ange and Neville, the operator, they've been cracking on through Div 5, cleaning out open drains and table drains for the last 3 months. Any request is taken up, and they're at it again this morning, just off Tamarind Street, end of Makaranga, and clearing out drains. They've done kilometres of drains over the last 3 months, and they're a fantastic team, and to Dave Schneider as well, organising all of that. Thank you so much for these guys. They do awesome work. They're only one of the teams. We've got 2 teams in the city, and they do the whole city together, but I'm claiming these guys as our Div 5 team. They've been doing fantastic. Thank you, team.
Councillor Jackson, before you sit down, I have an important question of Division 5 debate that has been raging for years, and you've recently reignited this debate. There is a road in Waterford West that travels through the heart of Division 5. It's spelled Muchow. How do you pronounce that road?
Well, the family that is named after pronounces it as Moko.
But how do you pronounce it,
I pronounce it Moko for 50 years, and that's how it will always be for me. But the community is voting for Muchow, I think. But there's about 8 options on the poll, but Moko is the correct one if you want to be right.
Yes, that's right. Well, when I first moved to Marsden, I called it Muchow until I met a Moko, and they didn't scold me, but they corrected me with a great deal of vigour. Let's put it that way.
Awesome.
Good work, Councillor Jackson. Councillor Hall.
Always thought it was Muchow, but anyway. Just a public service announcement for all the men in relationships in Logan. We've got Valentine's Day coming up on the 14th of February, so you've only really got 17 days. So men of Logan, get in and sort yourself out, and do it quickly before the men in Gold Coast and Brisbane book out all the venues and all the restaurants and leave us with egg on their face. So just a public service announcement there.
Women in Logan, you can feel free to treat your men too, just in case anyone's wondering. Equal opportunities go everywhere here. Councillor Jeremiah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I hold in my hands today over 300 signatures from residents at the Halcyon Rise Estate in Logan Reserve. Now, the context of why they've gathered together and presented a petition is because the development application to build this beautiful Halcyon Rise Estate didn't require some traffic conditions to be put on the surrounding road when it was built. There's this beautiful entrance to Halcyon Way with great fencing and great cladding, and it really adds a lot to our community. But what residents at the Halcyon Estate have found is that the turning circles are blocked by some cars that park in areas that aren't appropriate. So what they've gathered together and done is put together a petition with over 300 people signing up, saying that they just want a yellow line outside the specific spot to make sure the traffic flows in an efficient and safe way. Now, it's not on the official council form, but I'd like to reassure the community that the council has received it. It's been lodged inside council systems, it's been captured by council, and I've personally corresponded with the traffic engineers to make sure that this is on their radar and we can get that yellow line painted. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Are you supportive of the yellow line, Councillor Jeremiah?
Correct.
Excellent, that's what we love to hear. Councillor Bennett. Councillor Wilcox.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. By the end of this week, all of our schools will be back for the year. My own daughter doesn't start till tomorrow. So I'm sure there's lots of grateful parents sending their little ones back to school, and also a few tears sending our young people off with so many firsts. It's my first year that I've actually only got one at high school, so it's pretty exciting. So good luck to all of our parents, school staff and teachers, and to the students going back to school this week. But one thing over the school holidays, and this is what I really wanted to mention, was the unintended consequence in a really positive way of the social media ban. When I was out and about driving around, I have never seen so many kids out on scooters, bikes, walking, on footpaths, just out and about in the fresh air. It was really humbling to see so many kids out, because I know, having a vastly rural area, footpaths are fairly controversial in my area about when they're installed and how many people use them. But this was a really positive outcome to just see how many kids were out and about, walking up to the shops, home, to the parks and meeting their friends. It was amazing. So I'm here to say that I will keep on connecting my footpaths to places, so they're going from one thing to another, they're not in random places, and connecting missing footpaths in the area. So thanks, kids. I hope you're still out there, and I hope you're still getting out and about. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wilcox. Councillor Murphy. There being no further general business, I'll remind councillors that we have 23 ordinary council meetings until the end of the term, 23 moments at which you can make the city a better place to live for your residents and ratepayers. Have a fantastic remainder of the week, everyone. I declare the meeting closed at 10:54 a.m.